Hello, happy Wednesday, everybody. Today, we are going to talk about weekends. One of the biggest struggles that I hear when I talk to women is that they really struggle to stay on track with everything that they do during the week in order to move them closer towards their health goals on the weekends. And I totally get it. Weekends are really hard. And for the majority of my life, up until just recently, I really struggled with weekends. And there still are weekends where I struggle. So don't get me wrong. It's not like weekends are easy for me. But I want to share with you some tips to help you handle and navigate weekends when you are trying to reach a weight loss goal or a health goal. Weekends tend to be challenging because there's not as much structure as there is during the week. And there's also typically more social events that occur on the weekends, and those can certainly be very challenging when we are trying to lose weight. So one of the best things that you can do to help you stay on track on the weekends is to plan ahead, okay? Pre-plan your weekend. Planning really is key for everything when it comes to trying to reach your weight loss goals. But planning ahead, planning your meals ahead of time, knowing what you're going to be eating each day of the weekend, just like hopefully you are doing during the week, can make a big difference. And if you do have a social event, if you are, let's say you're meeting friends at a restaurant, check out the restaurant menu ahead of time. And decide ahead of time, plan what you're going to be ordering when you get to the restaurant. It's a lot easier to do when you're not busy talking with other people. And then you're also able to kind of research, well, how many calories does this dish have? You can, put in the dish into MyFitnessPal and find and see, what else comes up that's similar to it, so you can get a better idea. You can also use ChatGPT and, let it know that, I'd like to order eggplant parmesan at X, Y, and Z restaurant. How many calories would be in that dish? And it will give you, sometimes a very accurate calorie amount, sometimes, a little bit, not like super accurate, but close enough. So at least you have an idea, a general idea of how many calories would be in that dish. So, that's if you're going to a restaurant. If you are going to somebody's house, say for, a barbecue or something, you may not know what is going to be served when you're there, but what you can do is offer to bring a dish. And then that way you can bring something that is something that would move you towards your goals instead of away from your goals. So you know that there's going to be at least one dish, at the barbecue that you won't feel guilty about eating. So just having, that kind of stuff in mind ahead of time. One thing to be really careful about though is if you do have a social event planned for, later on in the day, don't skip meals throughout the day. A lot of people think, well, I'm going to be eating a lot at dinner, so I'm just going to skip breakfast. I'm going to have a really small lunch. And that's actually going to set you up for failure, because by the time you get to dinner, you are going to be so incredibly hungry that you're not going to be able to make a good decision on what to order. So treat the rest of the day the same. Eat a protein-rich breakfast, eat a protein-rich lunch, and then when you go to whatever social event you're going to, you're not starving, okay? And you've already made good choices earlier in the day, and you're more likely to continue making good choices if you already know that you've done quite a bit for it, okay? The other thing to keep in mind is to focus on the 80-20 principle. So 80% of the foods that you eat, should be foods that bring you closer to your goals. They should be whole foods, that have vitamins, minerals, think essentially foods that are not coming in packages. But 20% of the time, allow yourself to have a little bit of fun, because food is for nourishment, but food is also for enjoyment. So give yourself that 20% for a little bit of flexibility in what you're eating, and allow yourself, like pizza on Friday night with the rest of your family. That could be your 20%. And then the rest of the weekend, you're eating healthy and you're eating, according to your goals, but you're still allowing yourself that pizza, or maybe, it's a couple glasses of wine with your girlfriends on girls' night out. Whatever it is, allow yourself to do that, because if you are restricting yourself so much and telling yourself, no, you can't have pizza, no, you can't have wine, no, you can't have cupcakes, no, you can't have this, you can't have that. That leads to, it eventually oftentimes leads to overeating, right? Because you are restricting yourself so much and you're giving food so much power over you that eventually you just kind of snap and you eat everything in sight. So whereas if you allow yourself to have some enjoyment in your food, that's much less likely to happen. The other thing to think about on the weekends, especially if you are at a social event and, you're having foods that maybe you typically wouldn't have, be mindful about what you're eating. Really pay attention to the food, pay attention to the taste of it, the texture, the temperature. Take your time and really enjoy that food, especially if it's something that you typically doesn't fit within your health goals. Spend some time enjoying the food so that you have, it actually will kind of prevent you from overeating, because it kind of forces you to slow down when you're eating if you're really focusing on what you are eating. And the benefit to that is you are much less likely to overeat. So it takes about 15 to 20 minutes for our stomach to signal our brains that we are full. So if we're eating too fast, if we're mindlessly eating, we're not really slowing down, we're not savoring our food, we're just shoveling the food in our mouth, by the time our brain receives that signal that, oh, I'm full, you're over full by that point, because it does take a while for the stomach to signal the brain. But if you slow down when you're eating, that's much less likely to happen, okay? So when you are at these social events, slow down, be mindful of what you're eating, pay attention to and enjoy what you are eating. Sometimes, we have to deal with social pressure at these social events, right? Where a friend or a family member is, gives you a hard time for not eating more, or for, not having another drink or what have you. And just keep in mind that it's okay to say no, right? Like, set your boundaries, and you don't have to explain to anybody why you're not eating X, Y, and Z, or drinking, having another glass of wine. You just can say no politely. And, if they do keep pushing, just, say I'm full, or I'm saving room for, the cake that we know we're going to have later, or whatever it might be. So set those boundaries, and don't let the social peer pressure kind of get to you when you are out on the weekends. The other thing to keep in mind is to make sure that you stay hydrated. So drinking plenty of water throughout the day. And then if you are, out having a couple drinks, drinking a glass of water in between each alcoholic beverage not only will slow you down, but it will keep you hydrated, and you'll feel a lot better in the morning if you keep yourself hydrated with that. And then, also drinking water before you have a meal, like drinking a glass of water before a meal, fills your stomach up. So you're likely to eat a lot less because you're already full on, your stomach already has a bunch of water in it. And this could work not just on the weekends, but just during the week too. Plus, it's kind of a sneaky way to get in more water and to make sure that you're keeping yourself well hydrated each day if you drink a big glass of water before you have a meal. Okay, so what do we do if we do, quote unquote, mess up on the weekends? Do we berate ourselves? Do we make ourselves run 10 miles the next day to burn off the calories that we ate? Do we totally throw in the towel and, say, forget it. I'm never gonna, win at this weight loss game. I'm just gonna give up. Or do we throw in the towel and say, I'll just start over on Monday? What's the best thing to do? Answer is none of the above. Don't do any of those things. Give yourself grace. One session of overeating is not going to completely undo all of the hard work that you have put in. And you are one meal away from being right back on track. So whatever your very next meal is after you feel like you have, overeaten, just get right back on track with that very next meal and let it go. Okay? It's one meal, one eating session, whatever it was. It's not going to ruin everything. So we just have to, kind of get rid of that all or none thinking where, if I'm not perfect, then I've just ruined everything. And focus more on just being consistent. So if the majority of your meals all week long were healthy meals that, brought you closer to your weight loss goals, if you have one meal that is not, on track with your goals, that's okay. It's what you do consistently over time. If you continuously have meals over and over again that are not, bringing you towards your goals, that's when, it turns into a problem. But if you're consistently doing the work, you will get towards your goals. And in one or two meals where you eat more than you wanted to, or you drink more than you wanted to, that's not going to ruin all of your progress. It's not going to ruin all of your hard work. Okay. So it's going to happen. Okay. Life throws us curveballs. And, if it's not, a social event on the weekend, it might be something else that kind of throws you off track. And the best thing that you can do is just to get yourself right back on track as soon as possible. It's, how does that saying go? The people who succeed are the ones that fall down 7 times but get up 8. Okay? The only way you are going to fail at your weight loss goals is if you give up, if you quit. That's the only way you're going to fail. If you keep pushing, even if you have bad days, you're going to get there. Okay? The only person who fails is the one that completely quits. So kind of keep that in mind. A lot of it is a mindset shift into, going from this like, I have to reach this goal right now by this date to this is a lifelong process. It's a health journey that's going to last my entire life. And if I can consistently do the things that make me healthier, then I will get there. If I completely stop, that's the only way I can fail. So, okay, if the weekends are tough for you, a couple of tips to help you work through them: planning ahead, drinking plenty of water, bringing a dish of your own to share, setting boundaries around, people pressuring you to eat or drink more. What else did I have in my notes here? Eating mindfully, the 80-20 rule. So, see if any of these things sound like something that will work for you. And everybody's different. So, the 80-20 rule might work for one person while, planning ahead works better for somebody else. But, and also I want you to acknowledge that weekends are hard and that it's really hard to stay on track on the weekends and that it's okay if it's hard. We can do hard things. And again, the only way that you will fail is if you quit. All right. So we're a couple days away from a weekend. Hopefully this will help you get through this upcoming weekend and moving forward. Let me know if you have any questions on anything I chatted about. And just a reminder, I am running a free workshop next week. It'll be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday right in the group. And we are going to be talking all about how to kind of reset your metabolism. Wintertime is sometimes a tough time to stay focused on our health goals. And now that it's starting to get warmer in many areas and we're starting to think about summer and summer clothes and all that kind of stuff. During this 3-day workshop, we are going to talk all about exactly what you should be doing, putting together a plan on what you should do in order to kind of get yourself ready and feeling good for the summer. So I'll drop the link for to register for it in the comments below. And then that way you'll have access to all the replays and stuff as well. So even if you can't join us live, you can always watch the replay. So I hope I will see some of you all next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, talking about our metabolism. All right, have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you all soon.